we're not rooted into the ground, right? Like it's not that we depend on the world's rotation for us to live. Basically, I mean, we
100% depend on the world's rotation to live.
Right? Like, I'm not standing.
All things equally depend on the world to spin. Otherwise, we would all be equally dead.
I was just saying that Uncut Gems is like my least favorite side of TikTok right now. I hate that type of voice so much. It's your drunk girlfriend voice, and I hate it.
It was funny for the first 10.
It was never funny.
I thought it was funny.
I think it's funny.
I didn't realize that she was
hilarious.
saying Uncut Gems until today, because I just clicked on it and then I just saw the caption and I was like, oh, this bitch is saying Uncut Gems. Oh God.
Are you getting the ones that are making fun of her? Those are the funny ones. Like, did you see the Wikipedia page one? That one was fucking hilarious. They changed the Wikipedia page. Like, it was a different way to say Uncut Gems, like, every time. It was like JAMZ, and then it was like, I don't know, other ways to spell gems.
Just as somebody that doesn't really drink too often, drunk voices get under my skin pretty quickly.
I don't know if I would call that a drunk voice or just like... No offense to Julia Fox.
Yeah, I mean,
a stupid bitch voice.
No offense to Julia Fox, but she sounds like a dumb bitch. So there's that for you.
That's any girl I've dated. They've all had like a Valley Girl type inflection when they get drunk. So.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think that's her all the time voice, which is even worse.
And if you're listening and you've dated Nathan and you've been drunk, he thinks you're a dumb bitch.
That's what he said. I heard him.
Also, if you haven't dated
I'm just connecting the dots. That's all I'm here for.
I'm actually just going to send this podcast directly to all of Nathan's exes on Monday. That's done.
Hey, a view's a view, you know what I'm saying?
On God, you know?
You want to hit the intro since we lost your only intro ever to audio issues? Is it not organic anymore?
Nah, it's not.
Oh, rip the dream.
I was actually thinking about it earlier. I was driving around and I realized that like midway through my intro, I didn't have a plan for ending it, and it just kind of.
You never do. It just keeps on going. You just say what comes next in your mind. That's the best way. Just let it flow.
Saying what comes next. Welcome to yet another episode of SpaceBar Podcast. Hashtag your favorite podcast. We unfortunately are reshooting because we had some audio issues. So we're here. We're queer. Get used to it. I'm Eric.
Kyle.
I'm Drew.
Nathan.
I don't know what I'm doing, bro.
Okay,
I'm just here.
Oh, your fingernail. Hold on. Your fingernails just reminded me. I saw a video of it was like another podcast with Israel Adesanya on it, and he was just like, "So I see you've been like painting your fingernails, your toenails. Is that like your way of just trying to get John Jones to fight you?"
Did he say it was an Itachi thing or an Akatsuki thing?
No, he just laughed.
It makes me feel good that Israel Adesanya painted his nails too.
You guys it out for John Jones too. Fuck's sake. That Valentine's Day post was nuts.
Buddy.
It was crazy. What did he say?
I don't know. Something about beating your girlfriend.
John Jones wrapping his girlfriend's present or something like that. His fist being taped.
Unfortunate,
something
bro.
Similar to that. But maybe don't punch your girlfriend or your
100%.
wife if you don't want people to make fun of you being.
And don't do hard drugs or peds before a fight. I mean, there's that as well. But I still think a clean John Bones Jones will kill Izzy, bro. I've got a lot of faith in Izzy as a fighter, but John Bones Jones, peds or no peds, is the best fighter of this generation in the UFC, hands down. It would be a great fight. Sure. I think he could hold his own for most of the fight, but John Bones Jones has just the power that Izzy, I think, is lacking.
Sure. Yeah. Plus, like that even just up that one weight class, that's a totally different type.
Yeah, I mean, he already did that,
so.
but that went to decision, right? So it was a good fight. It was a boring fight, which I mean is understandable. He took a lot of time to feel out his opponent, but yeah, I mean, there's just going up that weight class. Yeah, it's a whole
He
different
would
beast.
wreck his shit.
Speaking of sports, do you want to do your Super Bowl spiels? I know it's not the day after, but it is the podcast after. Still.
I thoroughly enjoyed the game. First time I've watched the Super Bowl probably since the Eagles won. Glad Matt Stafford got a ring. Super Bowl show was, the halftime show was solid. The trailers and shit like that, phenomenal. Excited for all of the things that I saw.
The game was good, yeah.
It's a Super Bowl.
The first half was better than the second for sure. The defenses came out and they did their thing, but there's a lot of penalties that weren't called, and they let them play up until the last 2 minutes of the game. We've had this conversation multiple times, but that's ultimately what it was. They didn't call. I feel like they called like one thing, maybe two things all game until it came down to the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was I guess it had to have been last episode that we were talking about it, but the refs definitely, I think, need to have like some accountability for like missed calls,
100%.
Shit calls.
They need fines.
Like, for sure, yeah. Like they'll clean that shit up real fucking quick. I guarantee you.
It's like I feel like they make. I know they make a decent amount of money. I think they probably make like
Especially
$500,000, I think, a year on an NFL level. And if you're getting paid to ref the Super Bowl, I'm sure you're getting the Super Bowl bonus or whatever. But yeah, like a $10,000 fine, bro, or a $5,000 fine, a $10,000 fine. That's something you're gonna be like, God damn it, you know?
Like especially ones that are like super blatant. Like the two that come to mind are
the catch.
Well, no, not even that. It's
That still caught it.
Like like this past Super Bowl specifically was Ramsey like pulling that dude's shirt to pull him like out of the end zone,
and the face mask on Ramsey.
The face mask on Ramsey. And like I'm still in the camp of they probably let the face mask go because they were like, we let you get away with you stole a touchdown from him. We let you do that so you can.
It's crazy though. Jalen Ramsey had a decent year, but he got exposed during the Super Bowl. It was his worst game. I think the worst game of his career, honestly, and it was a terrible game. Like that. How do you have the worst game of your career during the Super Bowl?
That timing.
How do you? Yeah, you don't show up for the biggest moment, literally, of the year of your life at this point.
COD timing.
Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be. It had to be like nerves or something. Like I don't know if he would if this is his first Super Bowl appearance or not, but I imagine there's a great deal of like just nervousness and anxiety that comes into like going into a game like that.
Yeah. I'm sure there is, but. Unfortunate.
Learn how to handle that if you're going to be there.
100%. You know? Act like you've been there before. Get out of your own head. I'm not a Jalen Ramsey fan, but you need to get out of your own head.
Aaron Donald's been there though, hasn't he?
Yeah, this is his second time.
Yeah. I mean, he had a shitty first half, Aaron Donald did, but shit, after the second half, he came to life.
He was literally lined up off sides in the last play of the game when he got that sack.
Yeah. And Jalen Ramsey had fallen during that play. So the coverage was beat. If Joe Burrow had half a second more, that would have been the game over, you know?
For sure.
If Joe Burrow had a slightly better offense,
it would have been
not been as close as was.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, even that last pass, like the receiver almost caught
it was crazy that he had the awareness
6 inches away.
Yeah, the awareness to do something like that coming out of like a sack, like a spin cycle sack too.
Yeah.
That's not Joe Shiesty's. That's not going to be Joe Shiesty's last time in the Super Bowl.
He'll be back there within 3 years.
I think so as well.
With him and like Patrick, you're really starting to see the new like. I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be a new Tom Brady, but you're seeing like those types of caliber players where we're going to get new faces.
Thanks for bringing that up because now I have the names in my head. That's very apparent. I agree with you because you can see the next generation is like your Josh Allens, your Justin Herberts, your fucking Patrick Mahomes, your Joe Shiesties. You know, you have all those Mac Jones with the Patriots.
Mac, yeah.
That's our whole new generation of quarterbacks that we have. It's kind of weird that everybody you grew up with is no longer playing football anymore.
Super bizarre. Especially like when I hear like announcers being like, here's this guy, like 27. I'm like, oof. Like, I'm older than these guys. That's rough. I don't like that.
Yeah.
You're older than Kyler Murray. You're older. I think you're. Besides, I mean, Matt Stafford's obviously older, but you're older than Joe Shiesty. It's just like his sophomore year.
Mm-hmm. I think Mahomes is what, our same age, maybe a year younger.
Dak and Zeke, their draft class is our age.
Yeah.
So like Carson Wentz is around our age.
The craziest thing is like after we had moved into this house, like we moved up to Carrollton, so there was a bar like right around the corner that we would go to, like pre-pandemic, and we were there like on a regular basis. We were in that motherfucker once or twice a week, and there's this guy that goes to that bar, and his sister is Mahomes' wife.
I know a
girl.
girl. I know a girl who went to school with with Trayvon Diggs' brother. That was
My fiance.
That was really cool. Yeah, I know.
I can't remember who the player is, but like after the Super Bowl ended, I found out that one of the people on the Rams went to my high school.
Oh yeah.
It's like, that's small world.
It is
like,
a crazy small world.
I didn't know that there was, aside from Myles Garrett, like I didn't know that there were really anybody else in the league that was from my high school.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody in the league currently. I don't know if Luke Jokel is still in the league, but he was the number 1 overall in like 2012, I think. And
Luke Keeley?
No, Luke Jokel. He had a twin brother.
I know the year Myles Garrett got drafted, we also had another kid from my high school get drafted, but he was like a kicker. I think he got drafted to Chicago. And then before the season started, or after he got drafted, he found out he was traded to like Cleveland or some shit. And he was like, yeah, I'm just not going to go. I'm going to open up a kicking school or some stupid shit like that. He was like, dog, fucking
but
go.
Like, if you don't go,
like, you can go and still start the school. It's like a school taught by an NFL kicker sounds better than a school taught by an almost kicker.
Gone. Right? Like, you're giving up the longevity of your kicking school by not going. You know, you were drafted, but you never played a game. So what is the point?
Like, as a kicker, too. Like,
I'm saying.
Dog, you made it. Like, he was TCU's kicker. I can't remember his name.
Entitled.
I would say that that's like one of the easiest positions in the NFL, but then I look at like my own team with the Dallas Cowboys. You can make or break a season off of that.
True.
For sure, but I also feel like the amount of training that you would have to put into being a good kicker is significantly less than like almost every other position.
I don't know, because like I used to think the same thing, and then like after seeing it several times with the Cowboys, that's our games coming down to a field goal that our kickers missed like 2 or 3 in that game. Whereas like if he made those, it wouldn't even be an issue. And then like just shit like that. It's just like if you think about it, whenever they're needed, you only really need depending on the game, but you only really need a field goal probably like 2 or 3 times. So they have like 2 or 3 times compared to like the defense and the offense to like make their shit count.
But I feel like going into it, it's also probably an easier position just due to the sheer fact of not having to learn an entire goddamn playbook.
Right.
You learn like 2 plays, a field goal and a fake field goal. Like, I feel like that definitely goes into the difficulty of any other position. That's a lot of plays to memorize on both the offense and the defense.
As long as you have somebody that like has like a good hold, or like a placement hold or whatever the fuck it's called for you to kick, like I would say within like the 40-yard zone, like 40 and under, like probably pretty fucking easy. Like obviously it gets a lot harder with like 50 and 60-yard field goals.
And the winds and shit like
more
that,
like leg power. Yeah, and that's like, but you have to think of how many stadiums aren't even dome stadiums. That's not even
still a lot that aren't.
Yeah, Green Bay comes to mind. KC,
Green Bay,
Chicago,
Jets, MetLife or whatever.
MetLife,
Chicago.
I was watching
the places with a lot of wind.
San Diego.
Yeah, I actually literally just watched the Eagles Super Bowl highlights like last night, and one of the kicks from New England, like they got a bad hold, and the kicker still got it off, and the ball like curved and almost made it, but it like hit the upright and bounced out.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like that's crazy. Like I don't think I often see like the like that's more of a soccer move, I guess. When you see the ball like curve like that,
Yeah.
you don't see that too often in football. It's usually like if it moves, it's because of the wind. Like,
Yeah. I feel like in the perfect conditions, right? Like in a closed AT&T stadium, I think I could be automatic from 40 yards.
you've kicked like what?
Like the 40
yards?
yard line, or like
No, from 40 yards, from the 30-yard line.
okay.
From the fucking 40. Absolutely. That's a 50-yard field goal. I might be able to, like, if I had maybe 3 months,
I was
maybe
gonna say like a foot, an extra
4
foot.
months of
I think I
like
could.
getting into shape and like getting into routine, I feel like I could probably make a 50-yard field goal.
I think I could 100% the distance. I don't think I would ever have the accuracy, right? Just because I feel like that is a skill.
It is.
I feel
yeah.
like I had enough leg power, especially like in my peak, right? I could,
And kicking, like just the whole kicking, the placement of your foot,
yeah,
and
that stuff
keeping your
is all
toes down and all that.
technical.
Yeah.
But I think pure power, like if you put my leg on someone who knew how to kick, I think I could kick a 50 easy.
Yeah, but if you think like a lot of kickers go to like camps during the off season, and that's literally all they practice. Like during the regular season, is just kicking fucking
They
field goals.
still
So, like,
fucking shit.
But it's crazy because, like, you see they'll fucking kick 70 and 75-yard field goals, like,
Pressure's
with
a
the
big
whole
thing.
there, yeah, in an open stadium where there's no one. It's just wild to me.
Well, also just think about like kickoffs versus like field goals. It's 100% the same every time, right? On a kickoff or on a practice kick where you're using a stand, and
Yeah.
then you got a fumbling backup quarterback that's got to hold it right.
Well, there's
Right.
also, like those stands are like 1.5 to 2.5 inches. So, I mean, there's more space underneath for you to get your ball or your foot completely underneath the ball. So you get the further you get your foot underneath the ball, the more lift you're going to get out of that ball. Compared to having it on the ground, you have,
Yeah,
like centimeters to get your foot in the
When
right
I-
position.
it's like a tee versus like a green shot, like a fairway
Yeah.
shot.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
When I was little, I used to have to ask for a new football every like birthday or Christmas because like I was obsessed with asking my oldest brother to kick the balls for me. Because like he'd kick them to where they're like this big in the sky.
You would
and
kick
you're
your
like, "God
balls
damn."
until they were
Yeah.
this big.
Nice.
And he would literally like he would kick them so hard that like either his kick would like pop it or like it's like fall to the earth would pop the ball. It's just like, ah, damn, like how you do that? Like I've always wanted to be able to kick as good as him, but I literally just think it's with him, it's all like muscle. Like I do think that when he was in high school, he did like punter for a little bit, but he's also just big as fuck. Yeah,
I feel like punting would be the hardest of all of them.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like there's
Punting?
more pressure punting.
Yeah, because you got to
than
catch it and then you got to like drop
kicking a
it
field goal.
and kick it.
I wouldn't even say catching and dropping. It's not dying while you do
Yeah,
that.
100%. But like, you
Yeah.
have to- depending on the punt, right? You have to make sure you have the ball placed right, and you got to get the kick right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's different angles you're holding a football for
I would say it's
backspin punts or
worse
sky punts.
doing
or-
the punt return.
Yeah, true. Because
you got to catch it, and then also
If I play
the
football and
murder.
coach is like, Drew, you're PR, I'd be like, no, coach, I quit.
Coach, my hamstring. See, I just ripped it.
No, you just always
Right
throw the
now.
hand up, bro. Drew has
Yeah, but you
never
still gotta
run the
catch
ball
it.
back this entire season. He has fair catched 100% of the time.
Yep. I would not be on the team because I would fair catch every kickoff or punt. Every punt.
You are definitely mad exposed on punt returns. Like
Mhm.
85.
And it's not,
90%
you
of the
can't
time.
react until the ball is
in your hand.
probably
yeah.
like right here.
Properly. in
And then
your
you can
grasp,
kind of
yeah.
look.
Who do y'all think the best kick returner is?
I don't know. I didn't
I don't
watch
wanna
too
say.
many
Like-
kick returns. CD Lamb did a pretty good job on punt returns.
No. Oh, what was that one dude? Played for Chicago.
Devin Hester?
Devin Hester.
Yeah, I don't know if he has the most like returns for a touchdown, but I know he's fucking up there.
Oh,
Yeah, Devin Hester.
are you
was
talking about like
cold.
of all time?
Yeah,
That's still
yeah,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
not currently.
Didn't Sanders return?
I was trying to think the same thing. I couldn't remember,
Could've swore
but
he
that was
did.
before my time.
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson's a pretty good returner.
That's who I thought you had in mind when you asked that question. That's why I said I didn't want to answer because I hate Deshaun Jackson.
Fair.
Miracle in the Meadowlands. It's probably like one of my favorite. Like aside from the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, it's probably like one of my favorite like sports games. Is Michael Vick coming back like 20 something points down to win the game?
Yeah, in like
One
12
of my
minutes. Right?
favorite sports moments is with my number 24, which is Marion Barber, or maybe not 24, but Marion Barber against the Patriots on their, I think it was their perfect regular season record year. We were on the, I want to say like 2 or 3 yard line, our 2 or 3 yard line, and he had like a 10-yard rush that was only accounted for 1 yard because like he was like in the back of our end zone, basically teetering on this like the sideline on the back. Was able to get a 1 yard 1 yard drive. It was pretty fucking exciting to watch.
I don't know if it's
that man was a fucking beast.
one of my favorite moments, but it's definitely one of the moments that stick out in my head the most, and that's whenever Romo fumbled the ball like 40 yards back, and then was still able to get
against the Rams.
Yeah, and still able to get like a 10-yard gain.
He got the first down.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the moments that stick out in my head as far as like crazy fucking sports moments.
For a second, I thought you were talking about the time where he like fumbled the kick.
Oh, that was a good one though.
Against the Giants in the wild card, or not the wild card? Was it the wild card? I don't remember. Giants won that year, so he lost against the team that won Super Bowl. So I don't care.
Cowboys are good at beating undefeated teams though. It's wild.
Cowboys win games they should not win.
It's
the most
crazy.
infuriating thing.
And lose games they shouldn't lose. Yeah.
100% of the time.
Yeah.
I wish you guys watch soccer because a lot of like crazy moments happen on a regular basis in soccer. It's like year after year, like especially during like Champions League and stuff like that. Like I think Champions League is coming up next week, and I'm so excited because they do like a knockout group, and it's like 8 groups, right? I think it may be more. I think it's 8, but it's 8 groups of like 4 teams, and the 4 teams they all play each other twice, and then they go based off of like points, and so they take the top 2 from each, and then they do like a round. I guess it's going to be a round of 16. So I think they'll be playing like a home game and an away game. Hashtag not a sponsor. But they do like aggregate goals. So if you score 3 goals at home and you win 3-2, and then you lose 1-0, then it's tied basically, because they do aggregate, so they count both of the game's goals.
That would make me so mad as a player.
It's crazy, bro. I've seen like last year, I feel like a team beat somebody like 4-0 in the first game and then lost like 5-1. But even though the goals were tied, there was a rule in Champions League where if you scored more goals home, if you scored more goals at home or away, I think, then those goals count for more. So like, let's say if both of the games end right and it's 5-5, but somehow you manage to score more goals away than the other team scored away, then you would progress. That shit is so dumb to me. It shouldn't matter, in my opinion, whether you score the goals at home or away. I think it should just automatically go into an extra time situation or a PK situation.
Well, soccer's corrupt, so
yeah, the FIFA Federation for sure. But
I think the last time I even tried to watch soccer was like whenever the World Cup was maybe in Brazil, and the Vuvuzelas immediately killed it for me, and I never.
That was like
Yeah.
2012 or 2014.
Yeah,
that was forever ago.
Yeah.
Because I remember the thing was the hands holding up the fucking globe, because I made a Rusty's drink of the week of it.
yeah. That's the only part I remember, because I remember working maybe like a noon to 7 or something, and it was on the TVs because I think maybe like Albert and some other people were there watching, and it was just like I could have muted the TV, I guess, but just like sitting there idly while it's just like was enough to make me want to
Happening?
unalive myself.
one more time, I didn't hear that. Sorry, kind of.
Sorry, we were talking. Do it again.
I was changing my airplane wings. Go ahead. And,
So I think the craziest thing about like those is those really only come out during the World Cup, right? Like I watch a ton of soccer. I watch Champions League, I watch Premier League, and then I'll watch basically if I see a game on,
Watch Ted Lasso. Does that count?
But those really only like the last time I can physically remember hearing like that while watching a soccer game was during the World Cup, like the last World Cup. But it's like I feel like it's just a dying thing. I don't think it's going to be as prominent this year.
Okay. Like I feel like they should just not allow. Like if most stadiums don't allow air horns, you shouldn't allow a fucking air stick.
It's not an air stick. You blow into them.
I got something you can blow into.
It was like one of the.
That's weird. I don't know how I feel about that. Trying to pump you up like a balloon.
Into an animal balloon.
I'll tell you nuts afterwards.
I mean, Uncut Gems. What is a muse?
Uncut Gems.
So, is the planet sentient? Arguments versus counter arguments.
Transition, Kyle.
What
a fucking transition.
So that was like
what a transition.
Astrobiologists published a paper on this. So, I mean, there's got to be some type of credibility, right? They were talking about how, like in the rainforest, there's mold or fungus that basically connects like an entire rainforest together. So even to the point where like if there's a tree that needs like water, like the other trees divert water to another tree because it's all connected. It's like a layer of fungus underneath all of the foliage and all of like, you know, the other plants and all of that basically interconnects an entire rainforest. And I think they're talking about that, but obviously on a much larger scale where it connects the entire world, and the world is more of like a knowledgeable.
That's different though. No, just like before we get away from the topic, right? So the argument here is that trees and other known alive like living organisms are working together in an ecosystem, right? That's like saying that because we as humans live together in an ecosystem and divert our resources to the places that are in need, that the earth is alive, right? Because trees are not the earth. Trees are living organisms on the earth, part of the earth's atmosphere, like not atmosphere, but like ecosystem, right? So I wouldn't classify even a rainforest as part of the quote unquote earth. They're on the earth, right?
I mean, they grow from the earth, right? Like,
yeah. So what doesn't though?
Rock.
You know, if the argument is anything that sustains life from the planet Earth is part of the Earth, then yes, the Earth is sentient.
It's
the way you said rocks.
Didn't say rocks. We're not rooted into the earth. We don't get our sustenance from the crust, right? We're not.
And that's I recently learned that's not even like accurate. Like we genuinely don't like the whole like crust, whatever layer, core. Total bullshit. We don't have the ability to
obviously.
test that. Yeah,
that makes sense.
like,
well, I mean, they call it the crust. I'm gonna rock with that. But we don't get our
for sure. But
that's like completely dependent on that. We're not rooted.
We'll circle
into
back
the
to that.
Ground. Sorry, Nathan. We're not rooted into the ground, right? Like it's not that we depend on the world's rotation for us to live. Basically, I mean, we
100% depend on the world's rotation to live,
right? Like, you know, I'm not standing.
All things equally depend on the world to spin. Otherwise, we would all be equally dead.
I don't buy into the like. I don't understand how it's supposed to be sentient. Like, I understand that it's alive. Ecosystems are alive. I'll give you that.
They're
not sentient. They're just doing whatever the fuck they're doing.
Sentient, like we have to define sentient, right? Obviously, we know that plants have mechanisms built into them that cause them to do things, right? So like a tree or a plant will move itself to get the most sunlight, right? It will angle itself to get the most sunlight to then generate the most photosynthesis, right?
Just growing upwards is that, yeah.
Well, not even like so. Like if you get more sun on one side, right, they'll grow toward the sun, right? Like a tree. Like depending on which part of the hemisphere they're planted on.
I get what you're saying.
Right. So are we calling that sentience? or are we just calling that like
not,
biological Darwinism?
Darwinism,
Right?
I think that's more like just not me. It's like a biological instinct, if anything. Like I don't. There's for it to be sentient. I think there has to be a genuine thought process behind
Yeah,
it.
when I
there
think
has to
the
be
word-
How are we going to determine how trees think? Maybe trees are sentient. It's just not a language or
what a horrifying world for trees then. Because
yeah. I
everything's
agree,
made out
but
of
it doesn't mean that like we are basing our experience and measuring it in that way, right? So we're like, oh, trees don't wake up and go to work or gather resources and distribute, which they kind of do, but you know, we're putting them within our own grasp of what we define as sentience.
Yeah.
They could be 100% sentient and we just don't know it because it's not a thought process that we can understand.
We're calling sentience
Sir,
like consciousness. Are we
have you
using
seen
those like
Tree-
synonymously?
Yeah.
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 I mean, it's been like proven
Sentient,
that
that's a synonym
that,
for it, I
that
think. That's
plants
all it
have
is.
feelings. Like there's a whole thing about that. There's a whole deep study on that.
There's a whole movie with Mark Wahlberg where they try to kill us. It's happening.
I don't understand, like, how do you tell if a plant has feelings?
It's just a study they did, like how certain plants
Plants have
would
nerves?
be. They put these plants in a room, right, and they tested them individually. When one room they
Yelled
played
obscenities at
no,
them?
in one room they played
worthless!
music and they did cuss at trees and do that, and they abused the trees like physically, like they would hit the trees.
Well, physical
and-
abuse is a completely different thing, right?
I mean, they would hit. I mean, they wouldn't like cut the fucking leaves off of them. They would just slap the leaves around, right? But they would.
Well, I mean, even still,
in
you're talking
another-
about.
in another room, right? They were positively reinforcing these trees. They played the nice music. They did whatever, and there was a difference in growth between one tree in this or one plant. It wasn't a tree. One plant in this room to another plant in this room.
I would have to read the study to make a positive determination about what you're talking about, because if we're talking about, like, even if you're talking about just playing music in one room versus not playing music in another room, literally the sound vibrations in the air could cause disruptions in the molecules of the tree that we just don't understand. It's not necessarily a feeling thing, but literally the vibrations of the air, right, could have an effect, a positive effect on the trees, right? If we're
They played
talking
music
like
in both rooms, though.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you didn't say that you said they hit them in one room and they played music in the other room. I would have to understand what the positive and negative reinforcement was, like, because if you had one person saying negative words to a tree and another person saying positive words to another tree in a room, I would think that there would not be a differentiating effect, right? It's the same amount of vibrations, just some of the words are positive and some of the words are negative. That's where I'd want to see the difference, right? Even if you're talking about different levels of music, the sound vibrations in like fast paced, loud rock could have a different effect than like a slower paced classical.
Right.
Right? The slower, wider vibrations of the sound waves could have an alternate effect, right? It would have to be the same level of sound vibration.
Some of those classical tunes be getting up there, though.
True. That's what I would want to see the data on what you're talking about. I would want to see the actual environment and the variables involved in the
That
positive
was
and
some
negative.
shit I had seen like forever ago.
I mean, it's super interesting.
I
though.
can't even find the article about Earth being sentient. It was literally published yesterday, and the paper was published yesterday as well, I believe.
I'll believe trees can feel stuff when I see a tree beard or an ant.
Well, see, feeling. If we're talking, we got to make sure we're
Goes back to what I said.
we're defining what we're talking about, because I 100% believe trees can feel things in the physical sense of the word, right? If you punch a tree, even if it's lightly, even if you just do this to a tree over and over again, I believe that would have a negative effect on it, right? The physical interaction with the tree, that type of feeling, I 100% believe that the tree can feel it, like the physical feeling, right? But if we're talking about like a sentient, like a conscience, an awareness of itself, and a negative outcome to just words, I guess, and even the thought of like human emotion is kind of strange. Like we make vibrations in the air, and then other people interpreted it negatively and then become sad. Like, that's the basic science of what's happening, right? I am vibrating organs inside of my throat, and you're feeling those vibrations.
Your throat.
You're feeling those vibrations of my throat in your ear through the fucking molecules of the air, and then all of a sudden your consciousness becomes sad.
I'm trying to feel
that's what
of
I'm
your
saying.
throat somewhere else.
Is you broke it down perfectly. Like when you talk to somebody, you are literally vibrating an organ in your throat, which is manipulating the air, and then you have organs to receive that vibration, and then in your brain you're able to break it down, understand it, and you have an emotion off of that. That is the human experience,
which is wild. Which I 100%.
We don't understand the tree experience, is what I'm saying.
Thanks. I mean,
it sounds dumb, but it's a very real thing to think about.
Completely different thing from like another leaf rustle, you know.
Maybe like a way a twig or a branch grows off. It's just like a fuck you.
They out here still tripping. On God.
I'm good. They're just over here, just, you know what I mean?
I'm saying.
Just
what's that? Oh, that's it.
Redwood gang. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You don't know.
I definitely want to be a redwood. Red oak.
But you don't know anything about it, oak, bro.
Man, you over there fucking with the pines? Get the fuck out of here.
Those
you're not evergreen.
Or like there's like they have like 100-year-old bonsai trees. Like there's a few.
Let's say I'd be a bonsai. That'd be tight.
You would be a bonsai.
What are the ones in California? They're the red oaks.
The red oaks, yeah.
Redwood.
Those things are
redwood. Yeah, the redwoods.
Those things are crazy.
Yeah, they're like 500 fucking feet tall.
Yeah,
and their fucking trunks are
drive through. Yeah,
fucking weird.
That's so gnarly. That's so terrifying. I've never experienced it in person, but I want to because I feel like it's
the whole world is honestly terrifying. Like if you just think about it on any scale, right?
I don't know if I would say terrifying, but like I frequently enjoy watching like nature documentaries. There are certain shots where I'm like, damn, that's Earth. Yeah. That's wild. That like a setting like that exists.
Yeah, damn nature, you're really out here.
Crazy.
You're really out here, bro.
It terrifies me that we know more about outer space than we do our own oceans. That terrifies me.
I want to know why.
I mean,
what's under there?
How do we develop the technology to fucking put people on the damn moon? We developed the technology to keep a fucking satellite moving at 30,000 fucking miles an hour, and it's been going for like 30 years, and it's only 20 light years or 20 light hours.
I saw that.
20 hours
away.
Hours.
Mind blowing. But how do we can calculate all that, right? But you can't tell me what's 15,000 feet down in our fucking ocean. You can build something to withstand space. The space's fucking pressure and vacuum and
I honestly don't completely understand like how the pressure gets stronger like the deeper you go. Like I don't.
The weight of water.
Yeah, water weighs things. That's why
I know it weighs.
That's why there's less pressure when you get higher, right? When you're higher up on.
Oh, I understand that.
Well, it's the opposite of that.
Just like
the lower you get, the more pressure there is. Right? Okay, so here, think about this.
You never did the thing in science class with the 2-liter bottle and you'd poke holes?
Think about this, right?
Like you can see the stream at the bottom.
So you're laying on the floor, right? And I put one rock on you, right? If I put 2 rocks on you, that's going to be heavier than one rock, right? So think about the lower you get in the water, there's more individual water molecules on top of you.
Yeah, there's less oxygen as well.
Right. They weigh something, right? Everything weighs something. Everything has mass except dark matter, which we're not going to get into that because that's not present in the atmosphere, right? But, right. So each one of those water molecules weighs something, right? It's like, I don't even know. There's probably a word for it, but I don't know what it is, right? It's one trillionth of an ounce or whatever of a milligram, one trillionth of a milligram, right? But, you if you get lower, there's more of those on top of you, right? And the way that gravity works is gravity is pulling everything from the air molecules to the water molecules to all the molecules in the atmosphere toward the center of the earth, right? So as you get closer to the center of the earth, there's more of those molecules on top of you pushing down. That's what...
No, I mean, I understand.
Well, you literally just said, I don't understand how...
I just don't believe it.
I love it here.
That's not what he said, right? Though he said, I don't understand how pressure gets...
Nathan, that thinking is like the reason QAnon exists. It's like, you explain it to me perfectly well, and I understand it, but I just don't believe it.
JFK is the president right now.
I was going to say, those are JFK being the president right now, and me not understanding how deep Longhorn.
You literally are going back and forth. You're You were like, I don't understand it, and then I explained it. You were like, no, well, I understand it.
No, I mean, like, I get it. It's just hard to fathom how that.
Oh yeah,
like,
comprehension and understanding is completely different, right?
yeah, like I understand it, but like it's hard to comprehend that like it just shit gets tighter the deeper.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. Cosmo, I love you, bro.
Sheesh. No, okay, but just to pivot backwards, just to recircle back into a topic that we were discussing earlier, to circle back, right? So Nathan was talking about how, you know, we all saw that graph where it's like, oh, 7 miles of hard rock crust, and then 500 miles. I don't know, these aren't, don't fact check, these aren't real numbers, right? And then there's a much larger gap, like 80%, that's supposedly like shifting tectonic plates, and then like a hot magma outer core, and then a solid,
Crust.
right?
Yeah,
Like
crust, mantle, outer core, inner core.
that's obviously just a theory, because, you know, we can't.
because the Earth's
how
hollow.
would we prove any of that, right? So that's the thing. But the thing I wanted to pivot that off of, right? We can discuss both of these as a unit, but that's just how science works, right? So one of the craziest things, like, that still baffles me to this day is that gravity is still an unproven hypothesis. And what that means is that
Not according to John Mayer.
we don't know what
Or Trisha Paytas.
we don't know what gravity is right here. So listen to this carefully, because the diction is very important. We don't know what gravity is. We only know what it does. So what that means is
working against us.
we can only do something and expect a result. We don't actually know why that result happens. We just say, hey, I dropped this pin 100 times, and every single one of those 100 times it fell, right? We don't know why it falls, right? We cannot explain and or prove. We can explain it, right? But no, the theories can't be proven, right? So the greatest way that I've heard it put, right, is, so the current theory of gravity is, right, that the mass weighs down. Like, have you ever seen like the sheet pulled tight and then you put like a bowling ball on it and it pulls down? So the sheet is like space-time, and mass, right, is weighing down and bending space-time, and that's what creates gravity, right? So then everything on the outer rim of space-time pulls toward where the mass is the heaviest, right? So obviously the Earth would be the heaviest section of our space-time vector, and so everything is pulling to the heaviest point would be the center of the Earth. That's our current theory, but none of that is provable, right? So I could equally say that there are invisible gnomes in the inside of the Earth that every time you let go of something, they throw an invisible lasso and pull that object down to the Earth. And neither one of those could be proven more than the other.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Which is fucking insane.
It's just the thought of
It's just, to me, it's crazy that like growing up in school, the crust, mantle, outer core, that was drilled into me as like fact, like not a hypothesis.
they definitely need to go about a better way of doing.
Like I would like sometimes I would like to go back to like go do school over again now just to see what things they're like
Saying
that are different.
Yeah.
Like,
It's called having a kid.
But that's just like the progression of...
I don't know if I want to do it that bad.
That's just the progression of academia in general, right? So you got to think that's everything, right? Everything is accepted as fact until it's disproven.
My point is humans are stupid.
it's the fact. Hold on, I'm just thinking about like this is gonna get explicit. Me, just walking around naked, right, and like lifting up my cock, right.
You could have went anywhere else with it.
Just letting
anywhere
it go,
else, and you chose
thinking
this.
of a gnome. Cool. He's like, wait, it's dropping, and just that's killing me, and just ripping it down, 100%.
Like the Alaskan bullworm scene from SpongeBob, but different.
That's
Yeah, I mean that's where one of the most interesting things that I've ever like read up on and listened to like scientist podcasts about is where philosophy meets science, right?
Yeah.
So philosophy
That's my favorite spot.
isn't considered like a hard science, but even if you talk to a philosopher, like even the hard sciences are
Philosophizer?
all relative, right? Because we don't actually know anything, right? So we could all easily be in a simulation. Like it could be a billion years in the future and we're in a fucking simulation and everything is just programmed to be what we think it is. But if we ever were just to preface this, I don't believe this, right? But if you unplugged from the system, the
system is
of a down of the reality that was created for us, like 2 + 2 could equal 5, right?
But still -1, that's 3. Quick maths.
But you know what I'm saying? Like those are only the rules. Like the rules of our reality aren't necessarily true. They're only true because no one's proven them wrong.
Yeah. But think about it like this, right? Think about how big of a technological leap we'll make when they figure out what gravity is compared to why gravity is. You know?
What gravity is versus what gravity does, I think is what you're trying to say.
I mean, yeah, it works both ways.
Yeah,
I know what I said, and I said it how I wanted to say it. But it's just going to be a different, like, when they figure out what gravity is, right? And they figure out how it works, obviously they know, but like to the full extent.
We all get the force.
Well, the biggest
hovercrafts, bro.
No, the biggest thing is going to be travel, right? So we just talked about this. So rewind a little bit. We just talked about how we've had a spaceship traveling for 40 years and it's only gone 20 light hours, right? The reason for that is because all of our travel through space, not just space like is in space, but like through general space, like, right? So there's a space in between my hands, right? Space. Any travel that we do is based on propulsion. So what propulsion is you're creating energy to move yourself, right? So the reason we have to do that is because we don't understand gravity enough, right? So we have to use energy to defy gravity. But once we understand energy, sorry, let me take a second. Once we understand gravity, we can then remove gravity from the equation, and there will be nothing stopping us from traveling at light speeds, right? Because we won't have to fight the gravity.
Bunny has entered the chat.
Currently, the only thing preventing us from traveling faster is that we cannot create enough propulsion to overcome the effects of gravity at a high enough rate to get places far away. But if we can remove gravity from the equation, we could travel infinitely quickly.
So I just did a quick
aliens in the watching. Drop below how you
equation,
did that.
And I figured out how to correctly navigate the space in between Kyle's cheeks. You know what I'm talking about?
Sheesh.
The math's right here. It is crazy though. Like it's a deep subject, obviously, and it's
insane. I love that kind of shit.
Insane. Yeah,
that's pretty heavy.
I love that shit.
I like that. Good job, Nathan. Good job.
It's nice.
Good job. Let's have a shit. I don't want to. Y'all keep on talking.
Water is wet.
Water do be wet though. There's a straw hat. One or two.
One.
So you're gonna tell me that her sister?
She came down in a bubble, dog.
Like, in order for a straw to have 2 holes, this is a straw, metal straw, there would have to be something stopping it from this hole existing.
Oh yeah, we're all on the same page that the straw is 1 hole, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, look.
But it has 2 circles.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Technically.
Is a taco a sandwich?
Technically.
No.
Why wouldn't it be?
100%.
I feel like a sandwich has to have
It
bread.
doesn't.
Name another sandwich that doesn't have bread.
I mean, what is bread though, right? Tortillas are bread.
Yeah, what's your definition? Yeah.
It's just a word we use to define
yeast, sugar, and
things.
salt.
Yeah, it's tortillas are definitely like a type of bread.
A taco is closer to being a wrap than a
A
sandwich.
wrap, I guess, would also technically be a sandwich because it's a vessel
not.
in between.
Listen, you're not gonna.
tortilla
I don't care
or
if it's
any
Black
type
History
of
Month.
bread.
You're not gonna disrespect my culture like that.
No shot. Drew, you better get him. Turn around, beat his ass. It's
Okay, hold on. I got a good one. All right.
Month.
You take a piece of bread, a single piece of bread. You put a piece of ham, a piece of cheese on it, and you fold it.
Is that a taco, Nathan?
Sandwich.
Is that a taco or a sandwich?
It's a poor person sandwich.
That's a sandwich.
What makes it a sandwich and not a taco?
Bread.
Tortillas are bread, Nathan.
No, they're
Absolutely
not.
not. What's the difference between a tortilla? What rationalize to me, right? What makes a tortilla not bread? Especially like a flour tortilla.
When does a sword stop becoming a knife?
It's the one like the
inches.
thickness to outside of like quesadillas, which like America
What about tostadas?
is like bastardized.
A tostada is just a
It's
quesadilla
not
with
like
only one
the
side.
denseness. It's tortillas don't have to like proof.
If you
shit
deep
like that.
fry a
Like
quesadilla,
naan
does that become
or
a two-sided
pita,
tostada?
But pita is still technically considered bread. So name me the
Pita
difference there,
is
Nathan.
basically a tortilla.
And 100%.
Tortilla is just a flat bread.
It is 100%, just like pita and naan. So,
And when does it become a chip? Is it only a chip when you cut it? Right? Does it have to be a
Right.
triangle to be a chip? Because a tostada is a circle.
Nathan's
But if you
going
cut
to-
it
I
into
just
triangles, then that is chips.
I just googled is tortilla and it says bread. Is tortilla bread? It's the number one result.
So is the quesadilla a sandwich, Nathan?
No,
Why? It's in between two pieces of bread.
Pieces of bread.
it's a quesadilla.
It's between
Quesadillas are different
If
from
a hot
tacos.
dog's a sandwich, a
Tacos are-
quesadilla is also a sandwich.
What happens if you put a taco in between two pieces of bread?
Damn it.
That's a
It's-
taco.
it's
That's a Mexican club sandwich.
bread
It's
sandwich,
a
bro.
Mexican club sandwich.
So, a quesadilla is basically
generally
just a grilled
didn't
cheese.
think.
Yeah,
If you cut
just
if you
spicier.
cut the top layer off of a corn dog, does it become a fried hot dog?
It's all about like even when you Google is quesadilla a sandwich, the first thing that comes up is quesadilla is made of tortillas, comma, not bread.
Okay, first off,
It's
what
not
do you
the same
define bread?
consistency of
Because
bread.
what do you define bread? Because there's multiple ways
It has
to
to
make
be like
bread.
sort of spongy. Like I don't know how else
Tortillas
to
can
describe
be
it.
spongy.
100%.
That's
So
true.
you're
It's
gonna-
very
you're gonna
thin.
say that you don't dip a tortilla
Not
in
as
something
like-
and it soaks it up. All right, we're moving along. Thank you
Okay,
so
so
much for answering my question. Bitch,
So
fuck outta here.
okay, hold
Okay,
on.
it's cake
Okay,
bread,
hold on.
cake a sandwich.
Nathan. Is a gyro a sandwich or a taco?
Yeah, you can't. You immediately disqualified yourself. You immediately disqualified yourself. You're
don't-
making your
I don't-
own rules.
You're just out here living in
It's like, I don't
anarchy.
know what that would be. I guess that would be closer to it. Like that would definitely be closer to a taco than a sandwich. Like if I asked somebody, "Hey, make me a sandwich," and they brought me a gyro, I'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" As would all of
No, I
you.
wouldn't.
So
First of
you're
all,
saying-
I would
you're
openly
saying-
welcome a euro any day of the week.
I'm not saying I wouldn't welcome it. I'm just saying this is not a sandwich.
Technically, right?
You're saying that a tortilla and a what is it, pita? Is that pita bread
Yes,
that
that
they
is
have?
pita. Yeah.
Have the same sponginess? Because I would say a pita is more spongy than a tortilla, which would make it a sandwich. With your definition,
Technically, that would make it a chalupa, though, right? Because a
Chalupa
chalupa
is just
has
a fat
pita
sandwich.
bread, right?
So a sandwich is qualified as an item of food consisting of two pieces of bread.
Quesadilla, Scott.
Oh, so a hot dog's not a sandwich.
not
Then a hot dog's not a
tortilla.
sandwich. Then a hot dog's not a sandwich.
Because you
Let me
earlier
finish. It's
defined the
confused-
single bread bend as a sandwich.
You did do that. It's
Yeah.
not a
All right.
taco.
Either way. So it says
You're collapsing. This is
So
embarrassing.
okay, subs aren't sandwiches. That's a single piece of bread.
They're big tacos.
Checkmate.
You're arguing with yourself right now.
First of all,
I'm
I'm
not.
going to get to the base of the argument.
You just said that if it's folded over, it's not a sandwich. A sub is folded over.
If you get to the base of the argument, two slices of bread are part of a single loaf of bread. So there's never been a sandwich with two pieces of bread.
It's a sandwich is consisting of two pieces of bread with meat and cheese or other filling in between them.
Quesadillas. Check.
No.
100%. So
Panini?
No, it's not
So,
convenient.
hold on,
Okay,
So it's
all
not.
right. Next time you ask me to bring bread, I'm bringing tortillas, and you ain't saying shit.
No. What's the? It's the Hispanic dish that's inside of a tortilla. Is it pupusa?
No, it's
Crap Supreme,
Huh?
sopapilla?
a crunch
No,
wrap.
no. It's like literally in a.
Oh,
is it-
papilla.
Empanada.
No, it's pupusas,
That's
right?
like a hot pocket.
Double decker pizza.
That's not Spanish.
Okay. It's
Or
it's
Mexican, I guess, I
Latin.
don't-
It's of a Latin descent, pupusa, right? You've had pupusas.
Oh, I've had
that-
papusas.
That papusi.
I've had my share of
Papusas.
papusas.
I hated you.
I'd love to eat papusa. Is the fucking name of the fucking podcast this week.
God. All right, let's just end it there, bro.
Pushin
so much
papusa.
Let's just end it there.
That's it. Push your pupusa, 100%.
Comment below if you think quesadillas are a
You gotta make
sandwich,
a push and
and then
pee.
I'll block you.
Whatchamacallit. Thank you so much for sticking with us for another episode of SpaceBar Podcast, your favorite podcast.
With the most issues.
Facts. This episode has almost brought me to tears.
I just want to say, if I ever get a job as an editor for a professional thing, I want to thank this podcast for giving me the endurance to dealing with all the shit that goes
trying to
wrong.
give you
That's
another
all
type
I
of
want to
endurance.
say.
You know what I'm talking about?
Come back
Before
next
we
week
go,
to find out.
I also
Huh?
I just want to admit I don't really understand where rocks come from. Like, is it just part of the
It's
Earth?
not a rock.
The asteroids? How does a rock?
I got a
come
rock
from?
for you.
Magma meets water equals rock.
That's how islands are made.
Yeah, but is magma?
All right.
Is magma?
Nope. Nope. This is the podcast. Everybody, thank you for listening.
Tune in next week to find out if magma is hard, soft rocks, or if rocks are hard magma.
Bye.
You are now listening to SpaceBar